Good evening. Good evening. If I could ask you to put your attention up here on the podium for just a minute, please. I know I'm probably far less interesting than the conversation you're having, but we have some important people and some important events we want to recognize this evening. So I'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming out to this initial part of our summer days where we begin our 125-year plus one anniversary. And tonight is very special. We have a lot of different events that are going to occur tonight. We're going to hear from our Historical Society. We're also going to get to hear from the designers of our new flag that was designed to commemorate the 125th anniversary of our town. It's a very special flag. If you haven't seen it yet, I think you're really going to like it. A lot of hard work and effort went into that flag. And then we're going to go to the front of the building and go through the flag raising so that we can recognize that new flag. And then there will be two living history presentations back here on the north side of the museum. So there's quite a fun evening tonight, a lot of celebrating of Grayslake's history, and so I hope that you enjoy the event. And so now I would like to introduce, and it's my pleasure to introduce, the president of the Grayslake Historic Society, Mr. Chuck Clow.
Thank you. Good to see such a great crowd here tonight. It's a beautiful evening. And I'm delighted to represent the Historical Society. Just a few comments. If any of my items are inaccurate, Charlotte is immediately to my left. And if any of you know who she is, I will be corrected either really on the spot or later tomorrow. So, just as a matter of introduction, thank you very much for including the Historical Society in this event. We're very pleased to be here. And as part of our history, the Historical Society was formed a little under 50 years ago by some concerned and interested parties in the community. And we've grown from there. And we were just, items were stored in persons' barns and garages and attics and Lord knows where. And then as time developed, back in 1993, I think I'm correct, Charlotte will tell me if I'm not, we were allowed to, or we got in conjunction with the city, with the village, this is our home. This became our home. And my oldest son, we watched the video of that presentation, the dedication of the museum, the 1993 video. And the video wasn't very good, but it was interesting to watch. And a lot of history was, I learned a lot about all the work that went into it from the various businesses, individuals in the community, and the hard work of the village in putting the whole thing together. The mayor at the time was Pat Carey, who I'm sure many of you know. Ed Schroeder, who was a former mayor, and Marvin Smith were also involved and spent a lot of time, a lot of work to put it all together. And it was just interesting. The video was about an hour long, and to see many of the people that you knew from when I grew up in Grayslake, all of the people that were there at the time, was very, very interesting to watch. And Bob Churchill was our speaker at that evening. And it was really heartwarming because my dad was the president of the Historical Society then and was master of ceremonies. Excuse me. So we enjoyed that very much. We have always appreciated the relationship we have with the village. We expect that will continue. I don't know why it wouldn't. They've been very cooperative with us. We appreciate the relationship with the Heritage Center, and all of it's led up to all of this: the new building, the annex. It's just a wonderful facility for a small town like it used to be a small town. I guess it's not anymore. But we're all volunteers. The society has a little under 200 members, and it's all there, no paid staff, it's all volunteers. This lady over here is the backbone of the organization, tells me what to do every day, and I try to comply. So we very much appreciate Charlotte as well. So we meet the board meets monthly. We have programs. We are not sure what's going to happen here in the future as far as programs, but we have 3 scheduled. For Jane Trump, who's out here, who's on the board, is doing a program called From Farmland to Ghost House to Townhomes, the Cherry Creek Story. In October, we have the Strang family, the Strang Funeral Home family, and their history is going to be presented in November. Our own Larry Herzog, who's also a board member now, will be presenting a program on his experience here as the chief of police. So our society's mission is very simple, and if you'll indulge me, I'm going to read it. It says, to bring together those people interested in the history and background of Grayslake and its surrounding area, to collect, preserve, and display the memorials of its founders and benefactors, as well as the historical evidence and artifacts of its progress and improvement in relation to population, the arts and institutions, and to transmit the same for the instruction and benefits of future generations. I invite you all to participate. I invite you all to go through the museum if you haven't, and the annex. I invite you to become members. We enjoy seeing people go through the museum. We have people here to staff. You're welcome anytime. We are open. So with that, you know, Grayslake has grown from the small town that I grew up in, and we look forward to the future and success of the village, and we hope that all of us will take the time to remember the past as well. So with that, enjoy the festivities tonight and enjoy the weekend we've all looking forward to. Thank you.
And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the designers of our new village flag, John and Z. Laxon. They're going to come and talk to us about the symbols of their flag and the creativity work that went into designing it for us. So please.
Before working on this project, we had no idea how much work and thought goes into designing a flag.
So, vexillology is the study of flags and their symbolisms. The North American Vexillology Association has basic principles that they strongly recommend should go into every well-made flag. One is that it needs to be simple, with minimal colors. We were told that green and white were required, and we added gray.
Another principle is that it needs to be meaningful. And so we delved into the history of Grayslake to identify the significant events that not only built our village, but also still continues to influence us today. We researched symbols, we rediscovered the past, and we let that inspire us. This flag is an evolution. We took what we learned and worked with the requirements for it to grow to what you see here, a representative of what we've accomplished so far and what we are capable of tomorrow.
So the first thing you might notice are the 3 key markers that identify Grayslake, even to first-time visitors, that connect us to our roots. The water tower that represents life and a refreshed look forward. The Heritage Center, former Village Hall, represents both our past and present. The historical smokestack that heralded industry for the generation before and is now preserved for the generation after.
The green segmented band that runs across the flag echoes the iconic roofline of the buildings along downtown Grayslake, pointing upward in the direction of continual progress, angled to symbolize accepting the past while embracing the future. The thickness suggests the solidarity and stability of the people. The white lines on both sides represents the addition of the 2 rail lines added in 1886 and 1899 that boosted the rapid growth and success of our city.
And the 3 stars not only symbolize past, present, and future of our city, but also the 3 individuals who platted the Grayslake subdivision in 1886. Henry Hawley, Chase Webb, and Charles Whitney. They are also reflected by the three lines that represent both the lake and the foundation of everything that we continue to build, shaping a diamond that symbolizes the opportunities available in our city.
This is our Grayslake.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Isn't it impressive the amount of thought that went into the flag, the attention to detail, the research of our history, how it ties our founding to the present day? I just appreciate so much what you've done with that. It's really, really nice. So now, without further delay, I'd like to ask you to join us all out front, and we're going to raise this flag that so wonderfully represents our community. All right, well, if I could draw your attention back up here, we have a very special visitor with us this evening. It's actually my privilege to introduce to you the very first mayor of Grayslake, Mr. Thompson.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is a total surprise. I'm sorry I didn't get the chance to prepare some remarks. Good evening, Grayslake. I said.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, very good. Let's try this one more time. This is Grayslake after all, right? Good evening, Grayslake.
Good evening.
It's wonderful to see you all. Thank you so much. 1895. It was only 30 years after the end of the Civil War. And what an eventful year it was. It was the year that Catherine Lee Bates wrote her poem, America, the words of which would later serve as the lyrics for the revered song, America the Beautiful. It was the year that the Chicago Times-Herald newspaper sponsored the very first American automobile race. The year that baseball player Babe Ruth and heavyweight boxer Jack Dempsey were born. And it was the year that a group of neighbors from a small community petitioned Lake County to incorporate as a village. And on May 9th, 1895, the voters formally approved the creation of that village, your village, the village of Grayslake. And how do I know this? Ladies and gentlemen, through the magic of time travel, I was there. Let me introduce myself. I am George Thompson, and I was a pioneer resident of the area. I was born in the mid-1860s, a few miles west of here. Now, at the time, farms populated the area. But in 1886, the Wisconsin Central Railroad arrived, and the subdivision of Grayslake, two separate words, Grayslake, was platted. Now, there were several businesses located near the railroad depot, some of which I owned. For example, in 1892, I owned a meat market a block south from where we're standing. And my brother and I, we later opened a harness shop near the northwest corner of what is today Center and Whitney Streets. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you a little secret, so get a little close. That harness shop that I just mentioned would play a particularly significant role in Grayslake's history. Because it was in that harness shop, my harness shop, that several members of the community gathered in 1895. At the time, Grayslake was a small community, only about 300 people. Think about it, just a few more than what we have here tonight. But it was a growing one. And it was one that we knew was filled with potential. And so a group of us met in my harness shop, and we decided to petition Lake County to incorporate as a village. The village of Grayslake became a reality, and the rest, as they say, is history. I proudly served as the village's first mayor. Although I served only 2 years, I was very involved in this terrific community. I told you about the businesses I owned, and I was a member of the Rising Sun Masonic Lodge, which is still active in the Grayslake community today. I married my lovely wife, Louisa Frazier. We lived on Park Avenue when we raised our son. Now, I passed away in 1912, and I'm buried in the Thompson family plot in the northwest corner of the Grayslake Cemetery. But my spirit my spirit is still very much a part of this community. And I am grateful to share this wonderful celebration with all of you this evening on this beautiful August night. And now I would like you to meet my lovely wife, Louisa.
Oh, thank you, George. Oh, my dear George, how I missed you when you passed. You passed far too young, my dear. But I did manage to survive, and I moved on, and I kept very busy in the community. I, too, have a few notes, so I don't forget to tell you anything. I lived through the Roaring 20s. I felt the effects of the Depression. And I also remember 2 world wars. I actually helped wrap bandages for the Red Cross during World War I as well. During my lifetime, I saw many things in Grayslake. One of them was the gelatin factory. It was up, it was running, it was hiring men that were local. They made the gelatin here and they shipped it all over the states. I also found water and sewer to be an excellent upgrade that came into Grayslake. Yes, and mail delivery. And we also opened up the first 4-year high school. So I did see many improvements before I died in 1950 at the age of 84. But I wish I could have lived much longer because I so would have enjoyed seeing new improvements such as the second high school or many of the grade schools that were built and the community parks. Oh, George, you and I should have strolled through all these beautiful community parks. It would have been lovely. I would have so enjoyed that. But I am not upset that I missed the flood of 2017 or the tornado of 2015. I'm sorry that you all had to live through those. I am very happy, though, to see how much Grayslake has grown and thrived. Oh, George, you and I also would have enjoyed the Diamond Jubilee celebration and the Centennial. And George, if I may speak on behalf of both of us, we are both thrilled to see all of your faces. Thank you for coming, help celebrate Grayslake's 125th plus 1 celebration. Good night, everybody.
And thus concludes.
So I'd like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Thompson for visiting us from the past and sharing with us what life is like 125 years ago. That concludes the ceremonies for this evening, but you're welcome to stay, but thank you for coming.